Our conversation this evening is about the Farm Bill, but also about some sort of specifics around that. And so the Farm Bill itself, how many of you are familiar with the federal Farm Bill? So most, but not quite all. So I'll just give a little bit of background. The federal Farm Bill does several things. So approximately every 5 years, and we're in a little bit of an extended moment now, the Farm Bill is re-upped. And what it does is it provides for programs, I think keep backing up here. It provides programs in a lot of different areas. So conservation programs, forestry, organic agriculture, all kinds of farm programs that help farmers and ranchers. But 75% of the Farm Bill is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So SNAP, as we call it, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance. And that really provides people with the opportunity to, who are maybe food insecure, to apply on the SNAP program, and then they will go to grocery stores to buy food with SNAP. And so SNAP's part of it, but then you've got all the rest of the things that are going to help to really provide, hopefully, support to farmers. And we'll hear from Ellen. I think Zach Withers is going to be with us from Hope Valley Farm. We'll see, but we'll talk about also the many ways and approaches to agriculture and the things that help us. So two things to start with. One is agriculture is a good, okay, I just know it's going to be good. Agriculture is the third or fourth largest economic sector in New Mexico. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we have very traditional agriculture in New Mexico, so ranching, traditional farming in New Mexico. We're considered a small farm state, meaning that a lot of our farms are smaller size compared to the Midwest. So we have farms, anything from, Alan's going to share some of this, anything from like a quarter of an acre to a half acre, an acre, 10 acres, 20 acres, 100 acres, 1,000 acres. Not as many in that realm of that 1,000 acres. So it's very different from the Midwest, where it might be 10,000 acres of what we call monocrop. Many of our farmers, like Ellen will share, are have all kinds of different crops, right? Vegetables, and Ian's here, who has a beautiful farm in South LA, Albuquerque, with his partners. And so there are programs in the Farm Bill that are really there to really help provide support, securities for farmers, and two things that traditionally in the past, and yet things have evolved in the Farm Bill over the last 30 years. Many of those programs are set up sort of for larger scale agriculture. Now, dairy in New Mexico is our #1 agriculture in New Mexico, and the majority of what is produced is exported. Pecans are our largest, if you want to say then, crop that's not from an animal. So pecans, and we export again the majority of the pecans that are produced here, and some of those go overseas. So we actually only eat about 5% of what we grow and raise in New Mexico. Yet, New Mexico's been really focusing on this for many years. We've built out programs like Farm to School. We're getting more fresh fruits and vegetables, and now our meat products, or our ranchers' products, into schools, senior centers, early daycare centers. We're building out the infrastructure around these programs. And I know Alan will touch on some of those programs that he and his organization are benefiting from and putting to good use here in New Mexico. So in the last 20 years, which may seem like a long time, it's not when it comes to the Farm Bill, especially if it's every 5+ years. We've been focusing on evolving these programs so that they are a better fit depending on where you are. So New Mexico is different from the Midwest. We're different from the Northeast, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about some of that too. What are those varying things? But it has to sort of have something for everybody. What we have learned, and I really want to give a shout out to my colleague and dear friend Eric Chavez, who's here from Senator Ben Ray Lujan's office. Tap Eric with the things that you know about your own farming and the community that you live in and the needs we have here, right? Because we know we are different. We need to fit this Farm Bill to the size and shape of what's happening here, so that we really can access these many different programs that exist for our communities. So in the last 5 years in particular, because we had the pandemic in the middle of everything, what we've been doing in New Mexico for quite a while really came to even greater fruition. We all got together, we said we've got to strengthen and build out this local food system. Our legislature, our state legislature is providing now about $160 million towards all kinds of things, universal school meals, and now we have a legacy program, which is conservation programs, $300 million, that's a base for things, but multiple millions of dollars will go into riparian restoration, conservation programs for farmers and ranchers. And that funding can leverage these federal programs as well. So we can have some federal funding and we can have some state funding that really benefits us at the local community level, right? So in that though, and through the pandemic, we learned that many of the programs that we were interested in and that we were evolving and that are really at the forefront of creating a strong local food system that's set around values, right? Access, and access to culturally significant foods, and access for people of all walks of life. A lot of these programs are not set up for people to access them in a way, and they may not have the capacity to do that. So we've all been leaning into this Farm Bill as we've been evolving it, and we may have a little more time to do that, to really focus on what's going to benefit us at that very community level, our tribal communities, BIPOC communities, individuals, and those who have been left out and who've actually been discriminated against as well. So we're here to focus on equity, we're here to focus on access, and to take care of each other in this upcoming Farm Bill. And people like Senator Ben Ray Lujan and his staff have been listening and learning and then trying to navigate that and figure out how do we then create a Farm Bill that speaks to that. And we do it through what are called marker bills. So introduction of what's the potential, what do we need to change in the Farm Bill, and then evolve it from there and focus on those things and try and shift how this current Farm Bill that we're in now really meets our needs into the future, into the next Farm Bill. So one other thing, definitely then move into the conversation. The other thing is that we were hoping that we'd get a Farm Bill passed last year, which is when it was supposed to pass. We're living into sort of an extended period of that, which gives us more opportunity to lift up some of the programs like the Opportunities for Farmers program that we'll talk about as well, and evolve them a little bit more, work more closely with our congressional delegation. We have a fabulous congressional delegation. They listen, they're doing really great work for us in DC and really trying to push what's going to help us here. So I'll stop there for the moment, but we do have some more time to work on it. We'd love to try and get this Farm Bill passed in the coming months, but there is a real possibility because of the upcoming elections that we may be, it may be later in the year or next year. And we'll ride on the current Farm Bill that exists. So that's a little bit of a background for here and what the Farm Bill does for us. And I'll pass it on to Ellen to share a little bit